Toronto, Ontario, Canada. One of the greatest and my favorite city in the world. The possibilities here are endless. From people, cuisine, and entertainment, it's all here. Come join me as we explore the world in VR. This is travel step by step. Toronto is the capital city of the Canadian province of Ontario. With a recorded population of 2,731,571 in 2016, it is the most populous city in Canada and the fourth most populous city in North America. The city is the anchor of the Golden Horseshoe, an urban agglomeration of 9,245,438 people as of 2016, surrounding the western end of Lake Ontario, while the Greater Toronto Area proper had a 2016 population of 6,417,516. Toronto is an international center of business, finance, arts, and culture, and is recognized as one of the most multicultural and cosmopolitan cities in the world. The diverse population of Toronto reflects its current and historical role as an important destination for immigrants to Canada. More than 50% of its residents belong to a visible minority population group, and over 200 distinct ethnic origins are represented among its inhabitants. While the majority of Torontonians speak English as their primary language, over 160 languages are spoken in the city. Toronto is a prominent center for music, theater, motion picture production, and television production, and is home to the headquarters of Canada's major national broadcast networks and media outlets. Its varied cultural institutions, which include numerous museums and galleries, festivals and public events, entertainment districts, national historic sites, and sports activities, attract over 43 million tourists each year. Toronto is known for its many skyscrapers and high-rise buildings, in particular the tallest freestanding structure in the Western Hemisphere, the CN Tower. Now, before we continue on with the rest of the tour, I'd like to make something known that I mention in every single video I have posted. And that's that everything that I'm about to mention is just suggestions of what you can do on a weekend in Toronto. It is not everything, and some people may recommend other things, other attractions and such. But I would like for you to know that this is a compilation of some of the best known attractions in the city, and therefore probably something that you would like to pursue if you have just a weekend in Toronto, Canada. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into our first attraction, which is the CN Tower. The CN Tower is a 553.3 meter high or 1,815.3 feet concrete communications and observation tower located in the downtown core of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Built on the former railway lands, it was completed in 1976. Its name, CN, originally referred to Canadian National, the railway company that built the tower. Following the railway's decision to divest non-core freight railway assets prior to the company's privatization in 1995, it transferred the tower to the Canada Lands Company, a federal crown corporation responsible for real estate development. The CN Tower held the record for the world's tallest freestanding structure for 32 years until 2007, when it was surpassed by the Burj Khalifa, and was the world's tallest tower until 2009, when it was surpassed by the Canton Tower. It is now the 9th tallest freestanding structure in the world and remains the tallest freestanding structure on land in the Western Hemisphere. In 1995, the CN Tower was declared one of the modern 7 wonders of the world by the American Society of Civil Engineers. It also belongs to the World Federation of Great Towers. It is a signature icon of Toronto's skyline and attracts more than 2 million international visitors annually. Ripley's Aquarium of Canada is a public aquarium in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. The aquarium is one of 3 aquariums owned and operated by Ripley Entertainment. It is located in downtown Toronto, just southeast of the CN Tower. The aquarium has 5.7 million liters, or 1.25 million gallons, of marine and freshwater habitats from across the world. The exhibits hold more than 20,000 exotic sea and freshwater specimens from more than 450 species. The Royal Ontario Museum is a museum of art, world culture, and natural history in Toronto. It is one of the largest museums in North America and the largest in Canada. It attracts more than 1 million visitors every year, making the ROM, Royal Ontario Museum, the most visited museum in Canada. The museum is north of Queen's Park in the University of Toronto district, with its main entrance on Bloor Street West. With more than 6 million items and 40 galleries, the museum's diverse collections of world culture and natural history contribute to its international reputation. The museum contains a collection of dinosaurs, minerals and meteorites, Canadian and European historical artifacts, as well as African, Near Eastern, and East Asian art. It houses the world's largest collection of fossils from the Burgess Shale, with more than 150,000 specimens. The museum also contains an extensive collection of design and fine art, including clothing, interior, and product design, especially Art Deco. Now, although not in Toronto proper, Niagara Falls is a great place to visit. Niagara Falls is a group of 3 waterfalls at the southern end of Niagara Gorge, spanning the border between the province of Ontario in Canada and the state of New York in the United States. The largest of the 3 is Horseshoe Falls, also known as Canadian Falls, which straddles the international border of the 2 countries. The smaller American Falls and Bridal Veil Falls lie within the United States. Horseshoe Falls is the most powerful waterfall in North America as measured by flow rate. Niagara Falls is famed for its beauty and is a valuable source of hydroelectric power. Balancing recreational, commercial, and industrial uses has been a challenge for the stewards of the falls since the 19th century. It is located 69 kilometers or 43 miles south-southeast of Toronto. Sports are a major attraction in the Toronto area, with the city hosting most of the teams in the country of Canada. See a baseball game at the Rogers Centre, or see a hockey or basketball game at the Scotiabank Arena. The baseball team is known as the Toronto Blue Jays, while the NBA basketball team is the Toronto Raptors, and the NHL or hockey team is known as the Toronto Maple Leafs. Nathan Phillips Square is an urban plaza in Toronto. It forms the forecourt to Toronto City Hall, or New City Hall, at the intersection of Queen Street West and Bay Street, and is named for Nathan Phillips, Mayor of Toronto from 1955 to 1962. The square is the site of concerts, art displays, a weekly farmers market, the Winter Festival of Lights, and other public events, including demonstrations. During the winter months, the reflecting pool is converted into an ice rink for ice skating. The square attracts an estimated 1.5 million visitors yearly. With an area of 4.85 hectares, or 12 acres, it is Canada's largest city square. If you like shopping, the Toronto Eaton Centre is a great place to visit. It attracts the most visitors of any of Toronto's tourist attractions. It is North America's busiest shopping mall due to extensive transit access, its downtown location, and tourist traffic. The mall has over 230 stores and restaurants as of 2014. The Toronto Eaton Centre sees more annual visitors than either of the two busiest malls in the USA, which are the Mall of America in Minnesota and the Ala Moana Center in Honolulu, Hawaii, or Central Park in New York City. The number of visitors to the Toronto Eaton Centre in 2015 exceeds the total 2015 passenger counts at Toronto Pearson International Airport, Canada's largest and busiest airport. So we've gone over a few attractions in Toronto, and these are not all of the attractions that the city has to offer. Other things that people may recommend that I personally did not would be the Casa Loma, which is like a big castle mansion, very beautiful, and the St. Lawrence Market, where they have food and other things to see. So also keep in mind that going to Niagara Falls is almost like a whole day trip if you're coming from Toronto. Going to Niagara Falls and back to Toronto can take some time, so make sure you plan your weekend accordingly if you would like to include Niagara Falls in your weekend trip. So now that we've gone over these attractions, let's go ahead and get started with our VR tour of Toronto and Niagara Falls. All right, well, we're looking at the Toronto, Ontario, Canada area. As you can see straight ahead, it's marked with the pin. Let's go ahead and zoom in and start our tour into Toronto. We'll be starting off in the downtown area, which is an area where we can find many attractions. So let's go ahead and tilt the earth down. All right, so there are a couple of things that you can already see, I'm sure. One of them is the CN Tower. The CN Tower is this tall structure right here that's in downtown, a very recognizable landmark of the skyline of downtown Toronto. We also have the Rogers Centre right next to the CN Tower. And then, of course, right next to the CN Tower on its other side is the Ripley's Aquarium of Canada. And you can see on the top, if we go a little bit closer, it says Ripley's Aquarium Canada. And it also has sharks on the top, or drawings, I guess you could say, of sharks. So we're taking a closer look at the CN Tower right here. And if you've already seen my tour of San Antonio, you can already recognize that this tower is much taller than the one in San Antonio. Let's go ahead and get a little bit closer to the top of this tower and see what a view from up here would look like. All right, so this might be a little bit more difficult. I have to get right on top. Well, before we look into it further, this is what the lobby area of the CN Tower looks like. So there's some shops. You can buy souvenirs of the CN Tower, Canadian souvenirs. And so this is a great place to shop after you are done visiting the CN Tower itself. And so let's go ahead and see if we can find an area. What I want to do is I want to see if we can view from the top of this tower. It's proving to be a little bit more difficult than I thought it would be. But let's see here. Okay, looks like we got something right here. Okay, so this looks like a restaurant at the top of the CN Tower. And from up here, you can see all of downtown. Apparently, this is during the winter time. There is snow around here. And you can see a section of Toronto from up here. It's a very tall tower. And this does not look like the observation deck itself. There is actually a deck above this area where you can see even more. And you can already imagine this is very, very tall. But going up further, you can see a lot more from the top. right, so it looks like we did get to see a little bit of the top from the CN Tower. I wanted you to see a little bit, but looks like we can see a little bit more. This is a restaurant. And this is the other direction from the where we saw the previous image from the CN Tower. And so again, you can get an appreciation of how big and tall this structure really is. It is massive. And there's a railway station, it appears like, on the bottom. All right, so the aquarium is down here. And then so is the Rogers Centre, where the Toronto Blue Jays play. This is the exit, it looks like, of the aquarium, and this is the entrance of the aquarium. And you can see it says Ripley's Aquarium of Canada. And if you look up all the way, you can see the CN Tower and how high in the sky it goes. Looking inside the aquarium, you can see... Now, I have been inside this area of the aquarium before, and it looks like there's a bunch of pumps and things like that. You can kind of get a view of how things work, I think. But if we try to look for an area where there's actual fish, why don't we look for an area with actual fish? Okay, let's see here. Okay, we got one area. Right there. So this is a tunnel with the fish going around, and there's like kind of like I don't know what the term is, some type of like belt that moves you while you stand, so you don't have to do any walking. It just moves you gradually as you stand on it. And it looks like there's a shark going right above, and there's other smaller sharks too, and other fish as well. Okay, so we've gone over some things in downtown, which is the Rogers Centre, where the Toronto Blue Jays play. It has a retractable roof. We can kind of see what it looks like inside during certain events. For example, I talked about the retractable roof. This is how it feels to be in the stands watching the game. And look how beautiful this is. The tower right there as you see a game. I think that is absolutely amazing. And just, this is a beautiful day as well. Wearing jerseys of the players, and it just looks like an amazing type of environment to watch a baseball game. Okay, so we saw a little bit of that. Another thing that I would like to show you is where the Toronto Raptors and the Toronto Maple Leafs play. So they play in an area called the Scotiabank Arena. Now, there are many buildings in this area. I'd like to go ahead and search for it using the search feature. So Scotiabank Arena, there it is, right on Bay Street. Okay, so here is the Scotiabank Arena. And this is where the Toronto Blue Jays and the Toronto Raptors, the basketball team, I'm sorry, not the Toronto Blue Jays, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Toronto Raptors play. Trying to see if we can get a view of maybe of a sports game. It looks like, looks like they're clearing up for something. There might have been a game of some sort, and they're clearing up from that, but you can kind of see what it looks like inside. It's not immensely big stadium, but it is still a pretty good size. Next, I want to show you the Royal Ontario Museum, a really beautiful museum. I have been to that museum as well. Royal Ontario Museum. It's on Queen's Park. Royal Ontario Museum. So this is it right here. If we kind of go to this side, you may be able to recognize how the structure looked during the brief introduction I provided at the beginning of this video. So let's see if we can kind of get a view from the street level. So it looks very, how should I say, modern, a modern type of structure, unique, difficult to classify as far as shape, but still a beautiful structure nonetheless. And this is where the entrance is to get inside the museum. I think this is a really beautiful museum, inside and out. Let's try to get an image of how it looks like inside the museum. All right, well, looks like we got some dinosaur bones. So we're looking at a dinosaur. And this is a really large dinosaur. There are more dinosaurs against the wall. It looks like there's a Buddha statue over there. And this looks, I guess that's the dinosaur, that name, I'm not sure, Futalongosaurus. Very long name. But we can look around some more, this museum. And there are different levels. We can see different levels on this museum because of the stairways. We can tell that there are different levels and many different types of art. And it's beautiful. You have to agree that this marble and everything is beautiful. Very beautiful museum. Okay. So this is the Royal Ontario Museum. Downtown has a lot of skyscrapers, and as we mentioned in the beginning of the tour, there are many skyscrapers that occupy the skyline of Toronto. So why don't we go ahead and go to a very famous natural landmark. Actually, before we go to Niagara Falls, which is what I was about to mention, let's go to Nathan Phillips Square. Nathan Phillips Square. So Nathan Phillips Square is right next to City Hall of Toronto, and usually they have kind of like a little, like a lake, I guess you can say, or pond of some sort. Like this, it's a body of water with fountains, and there's a big sign that says Toronto, very famous. During the winter time, they do make this area, it freezes basically, or they put ice on here so people can ice skate on the area. So it's very beautiful to see that and to ice skate during the winter time in Nathan Phillips Square. And they have concerts and stuff and other activities in the area. Okay, now let's go to Niagara Falls. Niagara Falls. I think you can get an appreciation of Niagara Falls based on this image. Looking at the top, you can see where this fall area is. I believe this is the horseshoe area of the falls. It looks almost like a horseshoe. It's definitely the biggest part of the falls and the most massive. And you can even ride boats on this on the Niagara Falls. There's one called the Maid of the Mist. And I believe there's one on the US side, or there's one on the Canadian side. US side, I believe, is over here. Canadian side is over here. So why don't we tilt the earth down? And we can see the Niagara Falls is actually like a city as well. And there's attractions in the area. There's a tower. There's like carnival rides with a Ferris wheel and different things there. Casinos, many different types of things you can do. You can get up really close and personal with Niagara Falls. As you can see, these people are very close, camping on the grass, taking a look and just really taking in the majesty of these falls. As you can see, I'm kind of right on it. This is how it looks to be on a boat. And you can see all of these people wearing these ponchos or these rain jackets to go onto this boat. And going into the horseshoe area of Niagara Falls, you can see how massive it is. I've been on it before. You feel all the mist, and it gets very cold, very windy. And I definitely recommend this tour or boat ride if you have the chance. You probably have to book tickets in advance. During the summer, it gets very, very packed. And so definitely book in advance and make your trip accordingly. Of course, if you don't have the time to do that, I'm sure you can still find ways to make a tour, make a trip to Niagara Falls. And if you can't get on the boat, that's okay. At least getting to the area of the falls and watching it for yourself, taking pictures, is something in and of itself breathtaking. I mentioned there's an area with kind of like carnival rides, Ferris wheels, there's haunted houses, bowling alleys, wax museums, mini golf. You can see here the dinosaurs with the mini golf area. And there's even go-karts. There are many different things you can do for children, that is, and even for those young at heart. There's casinos, hotels, parks. If you wanted to cross over to New York, you can. And so that's something that I think you can find many things to do in this area of Canada. Let's go back to Toronto. Again, we're looking at this from like a satellite image going into downtown. This is Lake Ontario. I know I didn't mention that body of water before, but this is Lake Ontario, and there are islands, as you can see. Now, although I didn't put it on my personal recommendation list, I know that some people may say, well, what about the Casa Loma? It's a beautiful castle, mansion. People take pictures there. This is something you may want to see. I mean, it's not something that I personally would see. There's gardens and things like that. They have events, private events, weddings. It's not something that I would really look at, but it doesn't take away the magnificence of this place. I'm gonna see if I can get a good image from either from the side or from the front here. But you can kind of see in the distance how majestic this castle looks. The area is very pristine. Grass is well cut over here, and the trees are looking nice. People walking, riding bikes, basking in the nature of the place. And if this is something you want to see and take pictures at, by all means, you can definitely do this. It's definitely something you can do from a distance, and it's great. The last thing actually I want to mention is the St. Lawrence Market. Now, I have been to this market area before. They have places or food and things like that, like an indoor market, basically. And it is very nice, something to look at. St. Lawrence Market. Let me see if I can kind of get an indoor view of St. Lawrence Market here. But you can see all of this type of food. They have meats. They have, in this section, it's basically all meats. But they have so many different things. They have like a bakery. I mean, I think all the food here is probably excellent. So the quality here is great of the food. I would recommend this place if you're looking for something good to eat. You want to cook something, you can find the meat here. This is great area. So again, Toronto is definitely a wonderful city, but what can we do? What else can we do in the city? Of course, you probably want to shop for souvenirs, right? So before I forget, let's mention the Eaton Centre. It's a very busy mall. It's on the intersection, actually the busiest intersection in all of Canada, which is Yonge and Dundas area, which is right here. This is the intersection, Yonge and Dundas. You can see how busy this intersection can get. There's a street performer right here. And inside, you can get into the Eaton Centre. As you can see, they have stores like Saks Fifth Avenue. Very nice stores. And here we are, a better view. Toronto Eaton Centre. This is Yonge and Dundas, the busiest intersection in all of Canada. We can take a look at the Eaton Centre. Of course, it's a typical mall, but it's a very big mall and it's multi-level. And if you want to shop for souvenirs, there are souvenirs, Canadian souvenirs you can find in this mall. So this is a great place to find Canadian souvenirs. If you visit this area and you want to get a souvenir that has the CN Tower on it, or has anything related to Toronto, like the Toronto Blue Jays or any other sports team, you can find that here in this mall. And so I highly recommend you come to this mall if you're looking to shop or for a souvenir, shopping for anything in general, really. Except food. I would probably recommend you go to a market for food, but they do have a food court if you decide you want to eat in the mall. All right, so this concludes the tour of Toronto, Canada. It's a beautiful city, my favorite city, as I've mentioned. It's massive. It goes on and on and on. And so I really highly recommend anybody to come to this city. It is great. So the next city that I will actually do a place called the Rio Grande Valley. So the Rio Grande Valley is an area of Texas that is right on the border with Mexico. We will get more information on that as we proceed with the next tour. All right. So thank you so much for visiting my channel, for watching all the way to the end of this tour. This has been Travel Step by Step. Please subscribe and like this video. Tell your friends about it so we can keep this channel growing and providing more content. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day or a great time wherever you are in the world.